Hello and welcome to my Blenders to Unity Tower Defense game tutorial, and in this part we'll work on getting these turrets so that they can only go into certain positions on our play area. So let's get started. Okay, before I get too much into detail on what we're going to do, I want to just quickly go over a comment made by this guy here, Tubola. I do struggle with these names, apologies. Will you please call yourself something sensible? But thank you very much for your kind words. Is there any chance you could upload a few of these alpha images you've used, or even better, show us how you made them? Of course he's referring to, and let me quickly bring one of these up, I'll just do that now. If I go to the prefabs, machine gun turret straight up there. He's referring to these alphas here, so that these inlets and these normals and all these sorts of things there. Some of these tubola I created in that were already there in Substance Painter, but you're right, some of them I did actually create myself in those tutorials. So what I've done is I've created an alphas folder and I've put them in there. I know technically speaking they really shouldn't be in Unity because these were used for Substance Painter, but it seemed like a natural place to put them just to keep things consistent for you guys. So feel free. I have now put them onto the GitHub webpage, and obviously there's also the Unity package. If I can just find that, there we go. The Unity package that I will put a link to in the comments, and you guys can download that, and it'll be ready to go. All right, so let's get back on with how I created these. What do you call them? Placeable sections on the map. Let me just quickly delete that. If I take you through this bit here, let's just delete. I thought you deleted that. No, I didn't. Let's do it now. Thank you. Go away. There we go. What I've done is to create these slots, and if I just quickly re-enable the mesh renderer, my thinking was that I would create quads that have colliders already set to them, and then if we during our drag process the raycast hits one of these quads, it will become active, so you can see on the map where you can put these things. It makes sense, and we already had our on drag script, and we can do that. So what I did was just create these quads. If I just spin that to the top view here, zoom out a bit, you can see them here, and I just copied and dragged them. You notice they're called slot 1, slot 2, slot 3. It's important, at least at the moment for me, to make sure they all begin with the word slot, and I'll show you why. And I set the scale to 0.6, and I had to rotate them 90 degrees so they showed. There's no actual material on here, so potentially we could create a nice corner, sort of a rounded corners material and put those on there later on, but for now we're not going to. So that's all I did here. If we spin over to the script, let's take a little look at what I actually had to do. Now let's, here we go. If I go over to the top, and I'll just quickly hide that one there. In order for our drag object to know where these slots are, I created an array of available slots and an active slot. And I'll just delete these new statements as I go, just so that I know that I've done it. Active slot. So what we're saying here is if at the moment that we are hanging over a slot, then it is active. All right. And if we just take a look at our on drag method, this is the new piece I've added here, signified by the new comment. All right. As you know, we're already looking to see if we are in the play area by doing a similar collider that we hide with a big large quad. But now we're saying get slot index, and what this does, can I in some tools you can alt click that, but you can't in this one. But let's go to alt get slot index. It's going to go through the hits that get returned, and it's saying, do any of these colliders that you've hit begin with the word slot? Remember here, if it does, then return the index of that hit. If it doesn't, return -1. I'll remove that. Right. I hope that makes sense to you guys. It's pretty standard stuff. We've been doing this for a while now. We're going to be going through the raycast, see if it collides with any of these slots. If it does, return the index of that slot. Otherwise, return -1, which is basically saying we haven't found it. And now we can say if slot is not equal to -1, i.e. we are hovering over a slot, or our mouse is pointing at a slot, then let's get that slot. Let's get the game object for that slot. Set it as the active slot and enable it. And if I just quickly show you enable slot, it's not as straightforward as you might think, because it's not actually the game object we're enabling, it's just the mesh renderer. Now what I did was I go through, and again I've gone through all of these available slots. So the idea would be that you would drag all of the slots for the play area into this new variable we've created called available slots. Alright, and then it goes through, where are we? Didn't I have it highlighted? No, I think I probably just clicked it, didn't I? Sorry, hang on, where are we? Enable slot, here we go, sorry, it was enabled, it was selected. For each game object in available slots, then if the name of the slot is the one that we've just passed in, then set the mesh renderer, enable it, otherwise disable it. Okay. If we're not, if slot index does equal -1, i.e. it didn't find the slot, then we'll set the active slot to null, i.e. there isn't one, and disable all slots, which does the same. It goes through all of the available slots and sets the mesh renderer to false, i.e. don't show that material. Now, I think that this might be a little inefficient. My understanding, sort of, from general tutorials, is that you shouldn't be calling get component every frame. Now, obviously, you're only calling it when you're doing these dragging and stuff, but apparently that might be a little inefficient. I'm not seeing it. If it is, maybe Unity's tidied this up. I don't know. I might have a little think about how I can improve this. For now, that's what I'm going with. Alright, then what that's done now, so if we just quickly, I'll just disable those slots again. Before I do that, let me just show you in the turret bar what I did. You can see now this got the available slots, and I dragged them in there. If you don't know how to do, if you come a cropper with this, let me just quickly set it to 0. So I'm going to remove them all. If I do this, if I select all of these, you'll notice that I've just lost the ability to drag them in there because it's selected these ones. The way you get around that is you click on the script or the game object, and you click on this little lock icon here, and then it doesn't matter what you click, it will always stay on this one. But be warned, you might forget that you've got the lock icon on. I've done it more than once, so be sure once you've done it, just to uncheck it again. Okay, and then just go back to the machine gun, and we can see that we have our slots. So these are the slots that are available to us. I will very quickly turn off the mesh renderer for them, because we only want, mesh renderer. Thank you. Because we only want to enable them when they are being hovered over. Otherwise, by default, they want to be switched off. And let's take a quick look. If we run this now, we can see that if we hover the mouse over, happy days, it highlights them, and I think I'll put one over there as well, didn't I? And anywhere else is no good. Alright. But it's not finished yet, because I can let go, it doesn't work, but when I let go, here it does work. And you think, well, how did you get that going? And I'll show you, because this is all set up by the final stage on end drag. We can do this now. We can. I don't know why I've got a couple of lines there. If active slot is not equal to null, then we're going to get the mesh filter. The mesh filter is the mesh. I'll just quickly show you. For the quad, it's this one here. You see, the mesh filter contains the mesh. Right, and the reason we're going to do that is because I need to find the center point of that quad. And I'm going to hit an error in a minute. I'm hoping you guys can help me out, because I'm going to go and say, right, for this mesh filter that we've just got for you, can you please get me the center of it? And if I just go down to here, quad center, what it does is it says, right, let's get all of the vertices for this quad. But if I just, I'm going to run a debug here, guys, and I hope that you guys are comfortable with doing debugs. If you're not, you should be. It's very simple to do. Just click on to the left-hand side of the line number, and then if you click play up here, it'll start up a debugger. And now, if I go over to here and click play again, sometimes I notice it does run a little bit slower if you are running the debugger in MonoDevelop. If we just drag that over, now if I let go, alright, and just bear in mind that we got here because the active slot is not equal to null, i.e. we know which slot we're hovering over. And now if I click on the locals, oh, it's already there, that's good. It's F10 to step over. We can see that the mesh verts are these ones here, and I initially came a cropper because these are only the relative verts. These aren't where they are in the real world. This is the verts for the quad itself. Okay, it has no relevance to the actual position in world space. So what I had to do was put this vert real world positions. I created a new array, and then I span through each of the verts in here and ran this command called transform point, which does the job for me. There we go. If I go to real world positions, these are where it is in real space. It's not actually completely accurate because these, I think it's rounded them up to the nearest 0.1. Alright, so, and the way I got to the middle point is because these two here in the real world appear to be the diagonal for the quad. Alright, and so by doing a slurp I can say yes, here I want the between real world position 0, real world position 1, 0.5f, so halfway. So halfway between the diagonals, that will be the midpoint, and we're good. Let's just close, let's just stop that. So I spin back here, and I drag it, it pops it there. And the other thing it does, by the way, once it's returned that middle point there, is, well, we saw that it just instantiates it and puts it in the center, and it disables that slot, so you can't drag it there twice. And that's useful. Now we might have to revisit that at some point if we need to re-enable the slot, perhaps because we destroyed the turret, or the turret gets destroyed by something else. But for now, we're just going to say don't do it, and then we'll set the hover prefab to false, so it's no longer visible. And that really is it, I think. So I can just drag these across like so. But there's an issue, and I can probably show you if I just pause it. It's not a massive one, but can you see if I just select what slot 2 and slot, actually I'll stop it. I'll stop it to now. Stop you now. If I start here, these guys share exactly the same Y and Z axis. They're on different X's because that's going across, but the Y and the Z are the same. So the same height up and they're exactly the same position going down. No problems. However, when I drag these guys on, I'll just quickly do this and then pause it and go to the top view. Can you see that one is slightly higher than the other? It's not a huge issue, but it's high enough that it's a bother for me, and I don't know why. I don't know why it's happening. I also don't know why that has gone over to the right hand side. That's worrying me. That's weird, huh? That's weird. Is that an in-flight? But let's just quickly stop that and just see if it happens now. No, it doesn't. That must be something to do with the maximize on play. Yeah. So when we do this, we'll drag them in there. In fact, you can see it. Here we go. Pop. Hang on. It does seem to go into the right place. I'm going to do it one more time. Yeah, that one's gone too high, hasn't it? This one, it's gone exactly where you'd expect, but the other one went too high. I don't know why this is happening. I've put an issue for it in my little GitHub issues section, issue 2. So we're certainly rattling through the issues. I would love to hear any feedback if you guys can work out what that is. But that is it. That's all I've done. I almost wish that I had done this in the previous video, but it took me a little bit of time. I was playing around with those, getting the center of the quads. I think that's where the problem is, and I hope it makes sense. If it does not make sense, download the asset package, bring up the script, take a look, see what you think. I will provide links to it, and comment, and I will be sure to do my utmost to try and make some sense of it. Thank you everyone for listening. I appreciate your time. I look forward to seeing you soon. Cheers now. Bye bye.